Southeast Asia is one of the most dynamic regions in the world. This region consists of fast-developing economies and societies, where living conditions and the traditional roles of women are changing for the better. Yet, countries like Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam still struggle with gender inequality, and women in these countries have limited opportunities compared to men. Southeast Asia's growing populations, infrastructure and energy systems are also releasing growing amounts of greenhouse gases that contribute to global climate change. This region is set to be severely impacted by climate change, which can undermine development efforts and lead to greater gender inequalities. Stronger storms are already occurring more regularly in this region and resulting in more flooding, loss and damage.
Viễn cảnh trong tương lai mà cũng là mong muốn của tôi là làm thế nào đó mình sẽ giảm thiểu bớt những cái biến đổi khí hậu để không thôi nó ảnh hưởng rất là trực tiếp đến đời sống con người, nhất là phụ nữ.
Experts worldwide now recognize the important interlinkages between gender issues and climate change. To achieve maximum greenhouse gas emission reductions, women must be involved in climate change mitigation efforts. This will help address social inequalities and improve livelihoods at the same time.
In order to have gender-responsive mitigation action, you need gender-responsive mitigation finance.
International funding mechanisms, such as the newly established Green Climate Fund, recognize the need to make gender a central part of climate change mitigation projects, policies and institutions. And they are making this a requirement for receiving project financing from these large funding sources.
We believe gender is critical in what we are doing. So it is actually a requirement for any project to have gender responsive measures in it. So that's how we promote the gender responsiveness in our projects.
Unfortunately, at the national level, those officials responsible for dealing with climate change seldom interact with those working on gender issues. This has resulted in a gap between current expertise on climate change policies and gender-inclusive approaches, as well as few opportunities for replicating successful gender-sensitive projects. Without a gender-sensitive approach to climate change mitigation, countries' efforts have not been as effective and they have not helped address social inequalities or improved the lives of people. These countries are losing valuable opportunities to access financing when they do not take into account gender issues. To solve this problem, the Asian Development Bank implemented the innovative technical assistance project Harnessing Climate Change Mitigation Initiatives to Benefit Women in Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam. This initiative is backed by the Nordic Development Fund and draws on the expertise of project partners from the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies and SNV Netherlands Development Organization.
ADB is recognized amongst the multilateral development banks as the leader in gender mainstreaming. They look to us. So we have a commitment. It's about changing behavior on the ground and in the communities, develop capacity so that they can then act on climate change policies, making them more gender responsive, whether they be the policies, the strategies, or the action plans.
The project team supports these national governments in meeting the calls in international climate agreements to reform institutions, policies and projects to be gender responsive.
It is possible to support the country-driven process for gender-responsive climate change, strategy and national planning.
They bring together representatives from gender organizations with government officials in charge of climate change mitigation policies and provides guidance so they can mainstream gender into their climate change policies and institutions.
I think it's very important to make sure that climate change strategies, plans and projects are gender responsive. If we focus, we can make sure that women are included from the very beginning through consultation, decision making, planning, implementation, monitoring and evaluation.
An advantage of making sure women have a position in climate change institutions is that they can also influence entire climate strategies and policies.
โครงการสนับสนุนจาก ADB หรือว่า Nordic นี่เนาะถือว่าช่วยให้สุขภาพลาวนี่เนาะได้มีการเริ่มเรื่องเบียกงานการเปลี่ยนแปลงดินฟ้าอากาศนี่กับเข้าอยู่ในบทบาทยิงทรายเนาะแสดงเป็นอย่างงานหนึ่งที่ว่าค่อนข้างสำคัญสำหรับสุขภาพลาวนะและในนั้นเนาะทางโครงการดังกล่าวนี้ก็มันได้ช่วยเรื่องการสร้างความสามารถเนาะให้แก่เรื่องบทบาทยิงทรายให้มีความเข้าใจเกี่ยวกับเรื่องงานเรื่องการเปลี่ยนแปลงดินฟ้าอากาศและนอกจากนั้นก็ยังได้ช่วยให้โครงการนี้เนาะได้ช่วยให้ทางลาวนี้เนาะสามารถเอาทางแม่ยิ่งเนาะเข้าอยู่ในเป็น working group ของการเปลี่ยนแปลงดินฟ้าอากาศนี้
Through this project, these countries are now recognizing the important interlinkages between gender and climate change, as well as the attractive finance available to countries that mainstream gender in its climate policies.
Women make up approximately 50% of the world's population, and they're already engaged in many activities that help to reduce greenhouse gases. So if we can give them the knowledge and skills to better understand how they can reduce those greenhouse gases, women can potentially earn climate finance, and whole communities can be better off from these activities.
To clearly demonstrate the project's vision for climate change mitigation actions that are gender responsive, the project also supported the implementation of pilot initiatives in each country. In Cambodia, an initiative to build and distribute energy-efficient biomass cook stoves was established, while in Vietnam, partners are building biodigesters that transform manure into biogas for cooking and lighting. In Laos, the Improved Cook Stoves ICS program contributes to the fight against climate change and to gender equality through developing a sustainable production and distribution chain for fuel-efficient cook stoves.
ตัวนี้หันเป็ดเต่าโครงการเขาใส่นี่ดีที่สุดเลยเพราะว่าก็เลยขายดีก็มูว่าซั่นซะก็ปั่นกันเพราะว่าบางมื้อเพิ่นก็สั่งแล้วเฮาก็ต้องได้สั่งให้เพิ่น
By showing how we have been able to reach out to the private sector and therefore to the women and what are the benefits that these women are receiving, it is easier for us to give not only the story but also ensure that the steps are well explained and that people understand the basis of our works.
We needed to show them to demonstrate the project itself. I like this place because they are really encouraging women's involvement in this project, as well as they are disabled people who are quite marginalized in society. The women can be active participants, as well as they can be the small, medium-sized enterprises owners like these cook stoves.
These cook stoves reduce the use of wood and charcoal by up to 20%, and they last 4 times longer than a traditional stove. Producers can now manufacture more stoves and of higher quality. The stoves produce less smoke, contributing to the improvement of women's health, and lead to fewer greenhouse gas emissions. These types of multiple advantages achieved for mitigation projects are referred to as co-benefits.
และอีกอันนึงแม่นบทบาทยิงทรายอยู่ในโครงการดังกล่าวนี่มีความสำคัญเพราะพวกเขาเห็นตัวจริงอยู่ในการลงไปเบิงกิจกรรมอยู่ในบรรดาแขวงเห็นว่าแม่ยิงเขามีส่วนร่วมหลายมีส่วนร่วมในการนับตั้งแต่การวางแผนการมีส่วนร่วมการผลิตและก็การจำหน่าย
Sisavan joined the project seeking to improve the condition of women in Laos. The Asian Development Bank project team coaches officials like Sisavan in the development of financing proposals for their projects to address climate change.
Climate finance partners are interested in supporting countries. They say, sure, we'd love to work with you. Tell us how. What would you pitch? Because you're going to go to Hanoi and you want to say this with confidence, right? We are the people you should work with.
Armed with this knowledge, Sisavan and other government representatives from Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam came together in Hanoi to meet international funders in a unique marketplace organized as part of this project. National officials introduced the various climate change mitigation initiatives that are being considered in their countries.
This type of dialogue is an important bridge between the international process and what happens at the national and local level.
Funders introduced their funding opportunities and support activities to the national officials.
This is a global problem, and it requires the alliance of many of us, from the local to the international level, to come up with solutions.
Ample time is provided for the national officials and funders to discuss ideas, pitch projects, and get feedback.
This is a marketplace we've created, and we invited those experts in gender and climate change, and they are from UNFCCC or even civil society representatives, and also we brought funders, and they are sharing with our participants of the project, national government and the city government, to collaborate further, and then they can, build up, scale up.
We hope that this workshop has inspired organizations to make contacts through the marketplace activities, and that there will be concrete results in the form of actual work that will continue.
Some of the participants are already getting deals going.
We have discussed with the IUCN because we need to request some technical help from the IUCN. After we go back to the country, we will have the internal meeting between the technical working group, and then we will start working together.
It's time to look around the market.
Thank
Go.
you.
คือผ่านมานี่บ่ฮู้ว่าแม่นองค์การใดเนาะที่ว่าเพิ่นมีทุนให้ในการซัพพอร์ตเรื่องกับบทบาทหญิงชายและการเปลี่ยนแปลงดินฟ้าอากาศคือว่าปัจจุบันนี้เฮาฮู้แล้วว่าช่องทางและการวิธีทางในการประสานงานการพัวพันกับผู้ให้ทุนมีไผแดมาฮอดตอนนี้แม่นพวกเฮาฮู้เนาะเจ้าของในอนาคตคิดว่าโครงการตัวนี้เนาะหรือว่าเวียกงานนี้เป็นเวียกงานนึงที่สำคัญและก็เป็นเวียกงานที่ทั่วโลกเนาะกำลังให้ความสนใจในเรื่องบทบาทหญิงชายต่อการเปลี่ยนแปลงดินฟ้าอากาศนี้คิดว่าในอนาคตพวกเขาจะได้ร่วมมือกันหลายขึ้นเกี่ยวกับเวียกงานนี้